Society's family unit is in crisis as less and less people are making the commitment of a lifelong partnership together. It has been normalized, encouraged, and easier than ever to just throw in the towel when the going gets tough. With time at a premium, start by spending 20 minutes per week gaining thought-provoking inspiration towards a journey of self-improvement, ultimately improving your marriage, your family, your health, and your home. Do you have friends that are a bad influence? It has been said many times that you will be a combination of the closest people around you. Today, we are going to dive into why this is so important and what action you can take. To make changes in your life, you have to change how you are spending your time.
Welcome back to another episode of the Family Order podcast. In episode 12, we talked about the importance of having friends as you age. And today we're going to be talking about why you should have the right friends around you. Yeah. So like we said, it's been said many times that you are the combo of the 5 closest people to you. So another way to say it is if you have 5 people around you that are total losers, you're bound to be the 6th loser.
Right. Yeah. It's a little harsh, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that black and white, but generally speaking, it doesn't serve you to spend a lot of time and energy with people that aren't on the same path.
Yeah, and an example of this is just, let's say you're a devout Catholic or Christian that, you wouldn't spend most of your time with 5 atheists. That just would be disruptive.
You're
it's
not
not
going to
going
change
anywhere.
each other's minds.
No.
So, I kind of, to go on a little riff, don't particularly like being around people who aren't organized or people who don't have a growth mindset. It drives me crazy to be around people who don't have a schedule. And so those people are not my closest friends.
Yeah, we've talked about growth mindset in past episodes too, if you need to look more of that up. Just as a call out.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it even comes down to what's going on in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a country divided. So we choose to surround ourselves with people that have similar views on current topics.
And I wouldn't say this is to create sort of a echo chamber where it's just this bubble of you only have people that are just like you,
Mm-hmm.
because that is absolutely not what we're saying, just to clarify.
Yeah.
You need people around you that think differently. Sure, absolutely. But if you're on opposite ends of the
Mm-hmm.
spectrum, you're diametrically opposed,
Mm-hmm.
it makes no sense to try and spend so much time and energy making that work. You should be looking for people that are at least in the same ballpark that you are.
And obviously we have interactions with people that don't think
Mm-hmm.
the same as
Absolutely.
us and everything. And we're cordial with each other. You don't bring up the taboo topics and stuff, because there's that understanding of we're just not going to change each other's minds.
Which isn't really the goal either.
Exactly.
We're not going to try and do that.
Exactly. And so we just choose to surround ourselves with people that make us happy, that push us, and that make us a better person. And that's one of my favorite quotes that we actually have up in our home as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on a shelf in one of our rooms. So another way to think about this too, just to stay away from maybe religious or political stuff, is if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room.
I'm not usually.
That's not what I mean. If you don't know everything about astrophysics, that's not what we're talking about. But you need to be around people that are going somewhere that you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You get better by being around people that are further along that path than you are. Maybe it's certain goals or aspirations that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And studies have even shown, just a really silly example, that you eat more when you're around other people, because why? You tend to go out and eat. You tend to be doing things together, which is a good thing. But if you're trying to get healthy, if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to cut back, you need to be around other people doing that. But you also need to do it with yourself. If you're out with people doing things, you tend to indulge a little bit more, let's say.
Mhm.
So, I mean, why do you think that happens?
Mhm.
It's sort of that peer pressure. You feel like you need to go along with the group, and all that's fine. But that's what we're saying. You go along with the group. What group are you around? So, just
Yeah.
something to think about.
You might need to find a different group of friends or even family members,
Mm.
not necessarily a different family, but different, different who you hang out with. You might be closer to some family members versus others. So,
Right.
family and friends can become a weight that either hold you back or that support and uplift you.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you know and what can you do?
Yeah. And so I would say start with assessing in family or friends circles who's a positive influence,
Mhm.
who cares about you, who's positive, not just commiserating about all the problems in their life and all the things that are going wrong. They're always the victim. But do your friends or family, let's say, care about you, and do they just want to know what you can do for them, or is it about you sometimes too? It's sort of got to be this two-way street, and maintaining friends and family relationships, you really got to recognize there's some give and take here. It's not just a one-way street all the time, and you need to recognize when it's not serving you. And I don't want to make this sound like it's all about you, it's all about what everybody can do for you, because that's not the case. However, it can't be the opposite way either.
Mhm.
You don't need to have a bunch of charity cases around you where you're trying to always help them and lift them up, give them money, and
That's
talk about
exhausting.
them. Yeah, it drains all your
Mhm.
energy. You have nothing left for yourself.
Your family,
So, yeah,
your
and
spouse.
yeah, I mean, they say you
Yeah.
can't pour from an empty cup. Your cup needs to be filled too before you can help others.
Exactly. And girls are probably worse about this. So, like when you're going out with girls, or do the conversations constantly revolve around them and their
The problems,
problems and
yeah.
things
It's
like
always
that?
something that
Yeah.
somebody they don't like, something happened to
Mhm.
them, you know.
Yeah. Those are the type of friends that you're sitting there listening to them and they're like, holy crap, what do you say about me behind my back?
or do I get to talk too, or is this just a
Yeah.
lecture
Yeah.
about all your
Should I
issues?
just be agreeing with you and I don't really care?
Mm-hmm.
So, do
Mm-hmm.
you notice, patterns of this with friends or family members being selfish and constantly having drama, which is honestly something that I don't have time for. And I'm a very driven and motivated person. And a lot of times I don't sit back and smell the roses. But at the same time, when I do, I choose which ones I smell, I guess is the way of putting it. Like,
Right.
I don't have time to empathize with people or sympathize with people and what they've got going on, especially if it's a pattern of the same conversation over and over again and it never changes.
Yeah, it's always the same conclusion. It's never their fault. Things keep happening to
Mhm.
them, or they want to keep griping about something that at some point you're just like, I don't know what else to
Mhm.
say here. I mean, you've really backed me in a corner. I've given you advice, you didn't take it.
Mhm.
I listened to you. I mean, everybody is willing to lend an ear to a friend or a family member to a certain point, but once it feels like it's getting abused, it's like, look, am I just a crutch for
Yeah.
you? So it might be time to create a little bit of separation and say, look, like, you don't have to say anything, but you need to start to kind of
Yeah.
back away a little bit, create a little bit of
And
distance.
that doesn't even mean necessarily, unless they're an extremely toxic relationship or
Well,
something,
yeah,
that you aren't friends with that person anymore.
no,
It
no,
just
no.
means that that's something you don't spend time talking about
Hmm.
anymore. If talking about work, with someone, it brings up like anxiety and drama and is a conversation that you don't feel like having, find something else to talk about. Don't talk about work with that person anymore. Don't um encourage the behavior.
Yeah, you're
Enable.
an
Yes.
enabler. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And so something else to think about is another tip, to recognize some of this. What action? Again, we're focusing on action. What can you do? Do the people around you want to do things that you want to do, or is it always what they want to do? Is it always centered around them? Right? Like, you should want to be around people that are doing the things that you want to level up to, that you're trying to get on their level and go that direction. Good example, if you're, let's say you're a family man and you should be home with your family and you got some things you need to work on there with your wife, and you need to spend more time with your kids, you need to spend more time on the house. You shouldn't be out partying with single dudes late at night. Those aren't friends you should be around. Sure, it's fun. Who wouldn't want to go do that? But you do have some responsibilities, and so you need to be around friends that are on the same path. That doesn't mean you need to pick boring Ned Flanders next door that isn't, any fun to be around. So you can still be fun with your responsibilities, right? But this is all about where you're spending the majority of your time and energy, and you need to look for people that are going a similar direction that you want to go, and that you're making each other better at some point.
Yeah. Also, you need to provide value to others if you want to see that come back to you. So people do not want to help you or invest time in you if you aren't providing some value as well. So this comes back to having some give and take. So you aren't obligated to be loyal to family. No,
just because you're blood doesn't
especially if they've wronged you. But people also don't owe you anything.
No, nobody does. Yeah. Honestly, you owe yourself more than anything. And you learn that there's a lot of people out there that can become very bitter, very toxic, and you may even find family or friends that don't really want to see you succeed, because they would rather see you stay at their level, or even worse, because that makes them feel better. They don't have to look in the mirror and judge themselves on their shortcomings. So put some thought into who's around you, and if they are challenging you, and if you're energized by them. If there's no value there, it'll just be a drain of your time and energy over time. This may take time to develop, but you'll be glad when you recognize this earlier rather than later. So life is way too short to shoulder the load for somebody else.
And we're not saying that we just want to be better than everyone else. Like, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we hang out with people who we feel are better than us, because we want to level up. So it'd be really awesome to have, maybe a few friends that look up to us and that want to be more like us. But just keep in mind, and also know, we know that we're not perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
And we listen to and surround ourselves with people that we want to be like. There's always that next level. We're not friends with like Elon Musk or anything.
Shooting pretty high there.
Hanging out with Bill Gates or something.
No. Well, and it's not all about success or money or any of that stuff, because you can have some fun people in your life where you're friends or your family, and you're not really trying to achieve anything really high together. Sometimes you just have fun with people, but at least you want to be around people that are wanting to do something outside of the house. They want to go do things similar to what you want to do, whether it's just, hey, I found some friends that want to sit around the fire pit and have a few drinks, listening to music, or I found friends that actually want to go out with our kids and let them go play, and the adults can have some fun doing this over here. And
not, I found a 12-year-old to play video games with.
Yeah, right. Or a 32-year-old that wants to sit around and play video games all day.
So it takes work.
It does. It's not easy. And like we said in our previous episode on friends, especially as adults, it's really hard to find friends later in life. It gets harder and harder, especially as you have kids, because you don't have the same amount of time, energy, resources, clarity of mind, good judgment. That goes out the window at some point. And so I think you run into people eventually along the way. Like you will find people that you're looking to be like if you go out and do the things that you're looking to do. You'll find those people, but you're not going to find them sitting around at home doing the same thing every day that you've always done. You may have to go out of your way a little bit and find these people. You may have to reach out, but you're also going to have to put in a little bit of effort. They aren't just going to come to you. You may have to go out and sort of reach out and make some effort and try to make it, get the ball rolling. Now, yes, if there's no response, they're not reciprocating, you may just want to let that go. Let bygones be bygones. Don't spend too much time and energy on it. But that's just something we've ran into before with friends that are either they're on board or they're not. But you also run into people that you kind of figure out pretty quick. Yeah, we're just not really on the same page here, not really wanting to do the same things, and that's okay. We can still be civil, but this is about who you're spending the majority of your time and energy on. So definitely some things to chew on a little bit for everyone out there, but you really will get better by being around the people that are successful at what you want to do. It can be hard to let go and let some things go, in family especially. That's very hard to do, but create some distance, and eventually it will pay dividends in the future.
Mm-hmm. So this week's call to order is to evaluate the people that you spend most of your time with. Are they a positive influence? If you want to be healthier, be around people that are already doing it. If you want to be wealthier, be around people that are already there. Go to a conference or a networking event that is centered on something that you want to learn more about. Make connections and start making habits that will make you more successful. If you're ready for your marriage and family dynamic to thrive and not just survive, all it takes is 20 minutes or less joining us each week. It begins with a journey of self-improvement while you sit in the carpool lane, commute to work, squeeze in a workout, or get halfway through folding that laundry pile. Be sure to check out the blog at thefamilyorder.com and follow us on social media at The Family Order. If you're ready to start your journey, be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every Monday.